want to talk about two things: mistakes and mindset. So let's go with the mistakes first. I know one of the things you talk about are things that many of us do that keep us broke or that keep us from, I guess, reaching our financial potential. And I think this is interesting to understand because I'm sure there'll be things that we maybe don't think about as being mistakes or things that we could easily, turn our attention to. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the common things that many of us are doing that are keeping us broke.
Oh, this is such an interesting one. I have like so many things that I could say, but the one that comes to my mind right now, I feel like a lot of us let our like previous maybe traumas kind of dictate our money decisions. And the reason that I say this is sometimes we do things not because like we are trying to impress other people, but because we are trying to impress the person that we were when we were younger. So for example, when I first started making money, I bought a lot of designer things. Like I started in investment banking, like you get paid really, really well. And I was buying all of these designer things. And it wasn't necessarily because I was trying to like flex on other people. It was just because I remember when I was younger and I would go into like certain designer shops. And when you look at the label and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to put that back down. And I remember thinking like one day I'm going to be able to walk into the store and I'm going to be able to buy anything that I want. And I always wanted to have that feeling of I'm in this store, I can buy whatever I want. And I think that when I started getting money, I was having that habit of like, okay, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that. And that was because I was still trying to prove a point to that younger version of me that you can buy anything that you want. And I think a lot of people have that, but they don't grow out of it. And so you're still trying to prove a point to your younger self, or you're still trying to prove a point to maybe people that you grew up with, that you have money. And we talk about lifestyle inflation, where you are trying to, instead of like having that wealth and like keeping that wealth to yourself, you want to put it on display so that other people know. Because maybe, especially from people from my background, right, where you have grown up without much, there's a tendency to really want to prove to people that you have something,
like you've made it.
Yeah, like you've made it, and even above the level that you are actually at. And it's like in London especially, like luxury cars is like the norm. Like people will drive luxury cars on like salaries that aren't very high, because it's like, well, I've got to prove to people that I've got a job. I've got to prove to people that I have something. So this is the car I'm going to drive. And so I think just one, that like trying to prove a point to yourself and not really dealing with some of the money traumas you might have from growing up is one thing. I even remember I was watching a vlog like of someone, and she was saying that when she was younger, her mum always used to make them ration toilet paper. And so now that she's older, she always buys like an abundance of toilet paper, because she just remembers that trauma of like, like don't be so like frivolous with the toilet paper. We don't have much, and then that kind of trauma kind of stays with you. And now you go overboard because of like to compensate for it, right? So I think there's that, and also like I think lifestyle inflation is like a big killer of the path to wealth, because if you don't increase that gap between how much you're earning and how much you're saving, you're never really going to change your situation. And even working in banking, right, you would think that, I thought going into banking that, these people here, like they are making the money. And then during my internship, I'm literally like, so we're doing like, they always do these like socials, these socials that you do in corporate, right? And to like convince the interns to come back or whatever. But towards the end of the night, they kind of forget that you're there, and they're just drinking. And then, the truth starts coming out, and they're having this conversation about money. And I'm like, these are like the VPs, the executive directors, and they're still complaining about money. They're still saying that they don't have enough money and they're not getting paid enough, and they don't have enough money to send this person to school and all of these things. And I'm like, wow, like you are earning so much more than everyone that I've grown up with, and you're still having the same complaints about money. And that's lifestyle inflation. Like you've increased, you earn significantly more than the average population in the UK, which earn like 30K. These people are earning like 200K a year, and this is in pounds, 200K a year, 250K a year plus, right? Not even including bonuses, and you're still complaining about money. And that's lifestyle inflation, like in full effect. So yeah, that's definitely another thing that I would say. I think lifestyle inflation is like a big killer of the path to wealth, because